Welcome to Business Talk Sister Gawk. I'm Becca, and today's podcast episode topic is, what is a golden group? And if you've never heard of anything like a golden group before, that's okay. Because quite honestly, there's probably a lot of these all over the United States, all over the world, and there has been for a long time. But the reality is that they have different names. And so I'm going to define what a golden group is. And then I'm going to show you a specific golden group and a project that they're working on. And this is going to be a podcast that's a little bit more documentarian style in terms of the content. And so if you are a regular listener, if you ever see a podcast title that says episode number Golden Group Update, that means that you're going to want to jump to that one because that'll be the next update from the Golden Group on what's happening. And I have a feeling that eventually the Golden Group will have a lot of video and other content that you'll be able to check out, not specific even to Business Talk Sister Gawk. And so let me just explain this a little bit to you. So a golden group is a bunch of collaborators, people who enjoy having a specific purpose, and maybe they love something themselves, something that they're really excited about, and they can see how whatever somebody over there is doing and they're really excited about can potentially complement a little bit of what they're passionate about, where nobody necessarily has to give up any of themselves, but at the same time can contribute or support the efforts of somebody else, whether that's through their professional skills or through just being able to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And specifically, golden groups are people who have the ability to participate and contribute to something without expecting anything in return. While something may come of it, it's never guaranteed, and it's totally a risk that person is able to afford. And let me give you an example of this. So a couple years ago, I was actually working on some things by myself, and I met a guy named John Cook, who actually has a great couple podcasts with me on how to make yourself useful, episodes 110 and 111, if you're looking for those. And I met John while he was working on a project. Now, I had absolutely nothing to do with that project, but I had some time on my hands, and for some reason I knew that this is somebody I wanted to learn from because he had way more experience than I did. He had a lot of life advice and a lot of things that he's done in terms of like doing special effects for movies and doing architectural design projects and theme parks, all these different things. Nothing I ever had any experience with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't want to learn from his knowledge base. And as I started to get to know him, he kind of educated me on a golden group of people who are willing to work on a project that they're passionate about while still working on their own stuff that kind of contributes to the overall idea of the main project, because your skills are constantly growing as you learn your own things. But each person doesn't necessarily need to be compensated or have any kind of payout by just contributing. So let me give you a specific example of this that I've seen before. So 1 Million Followers is a book by Brendan Kane that actually has some really good information on how all of these different independent YouTube creators who've just been like really growing their following have eventually moved into one apartment complex in Los Angeles where they all have their own YouTube studios, filming areas set up, whatever, in their own apartments, but they actually end up connecting with one another and doing cross promotions with one another because they find it valuable to grow their followings and refer to one another. Now, that's a specific example of a type of golden group. Now, not every golden group has individuals that are looking to get some kind of cross promotion out of it or external benefit besides just seeing other people be successful or bringing something beautiful to their community. And I would call these people more artists, right? They're the ones who love to create things just to see them into life. These are a haphazard group of collective people that just care about their community, care about making the world a better place, and they're willing to contribute to something that could potentially make the world better. And they're able to do that on their own platforms or with their own skills, contribute to something else that is working towards a greater good for their local area with no strings attached. And I think that that's a really big piece, is understanding the intentions of the person and knowing they have the ability to contribute, knowing that it's a risk of their time, but it's no loss to them, just learning and growing about what's available and what they can do in the future as they hone their skills. Another really great example of this actually is a entrepreneurs group over in, I believe the city is Maple Lake, where I talked to an entrepreneur there who had a boutique and a leather making company. And she said, want to know what's so beautiful is there's a ton of these retired entrepreneurs that are very successful business people that don't really have a lot they're doing now with their life in terms of business, but they want to see our community better. And so they're spending the time to invest in young entrepreneurs and do advising, and they're involved in all these different things because they just want to see their community vibrant. And they don't want anything in return except for the appreciation of other people working hard at doing the things they love. Now that is an amazing golden group. Well, locally, within the area that I live, there's a golden group. And it doesn't cost anything to be a part of a golden group, except for you bringing your best and contributing something that's beautiful to the world. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be business. But my specific contribution is the fact that I do love business and I love creating things, which is why I have a podcast. So here's the local example of this golden group, right? The golden group, they have a passion for the arts. And our sole focus in this golden group is to come up with ideas and contribute to create something beautiful for the benefit of the Crescendo Youth Orchestra. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we all work for them or whatever. We just have some ideas about how to make beautiful things that could potentially, eventually, be useful to a nonprofit organization within our area that specifically is focused on trying to help young people within our community have the opportunity to express themselves through music. Now, every golden group has their own goals, right? But this local golden group, I'm just going to give you a little background on it's just ideas for a long time. And actually, one of the beautiful ideas that John Cook has come up with is this experiential museum. And he's been working on it for quite some time. But part of that is just different things, ways for people to get their hands on science and technology and art and all of these things and understand how they work and how the world around them works together. Now that is something amazing that not many people have the capacity to spend all their time in, right? But for him, that's his project. Not necessarily my project, but out of the golden group, I will give you as another example, was the idea for me to invent a product and sell it and teach young entrepreneurs about how to do that on my podcast, which actually ended up being a 4-part series, episodes 94 through 97. Of learning for myself about how to promote a product, how to get it out there. And quite honestly, to this day, I still sell at least one a week of that product without doing absolutely any work. And so there's like opportunities within those conversations with people who are just excited about what can be created that can be made life into other people. And I get really excited about that. And I get really excited about people learning to express themselves in ways that make sense to encourage others. So as time goes on, if you're a regular listener and you see a Golden Group update, you'll know what I'm talking about, that this is actually a broader story about a whole bunch of different people's projects using their skills in a way that's awesome. Some of them are monetizing them for their own things as well as contributing their expertise to a bigger project, or even just smaller things in how the process is going and what issues they've encountered and everything else. Because I think that what most people don't realize is for something to take shape, it takes a lot of time and planning, especially for really big visionary things. And I think that's what we're on to. And I don't mean that in like just a random sense. I mean it like, yeah, we're a little bit crazy. Because think about Walt Disney when he bought acres and acres of swamp in the middle of Florida. and what it is today. That's kind of the crazy journey we're on right now. But I really want to share it with you. I really want you to just be in the loop on it because there's nothing like you've ever heard before. And I know that we're going to learn a ton along the way. So watch for the Golden Group update in the podcast listings as they get released. And also know that everything that's going to be branded Golden Group is going to have golden branding attached to it. So you'll be able to see it really quickly and grab those episodes. And I'm super excited to see if we even get into some video and what that looks like on the podcast. Thanks for joining me.